Chapter 1. The High Dive. I talk a lot, just not out loud where anyone can hear. At least I used to be that way. I'm no chatterbox now, but if you stop me on the street and ask me directions to the zoo, I'll answer you. Probably. If you're nice. I might even tell you a couple of different ways to get there. I guess I've learned it's not enough to just think things. You have to say them too, because all the words in the world won't do much good if they're just rattling around in your head. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand me and how I've changed, I need to go back to 1958. It was a beautiful day in September, and I was standing on top of a diving board. The blue sky was reflected in the water below. The whiteboard felt scratchy under my feet, and the smell of hot dogs wafted up from the snack stand. It was a perfect summer day, the kind you see in the movies, and I was positive I was going to throw up. You see, it wasn't just any high dive. Oh no, it was a super huge 5-meter high platform diving board, the tallest as Fair Park swimming pool, probably the highest in all of Little Rock. It might have even been the highest in all of Arkansas, which wouldn't have been a problem if I hadn't been afraid of heights, but I was. Sally McDaniels had told me she was going to jump off and asked if I wanted to come too. Everyone over the age of 10 had already jumped off the board a dozen times that summer, except for me, and I was practically 13. It was easier to nod than to say no, so there I was. Sally was waiting behind me on the ladder. Blonde and blue-eyed, she wore a pink suit the exact color of her toenails. Sally wasn't really pretty, but no one ever noticed because she acted like she was. "Are you all right?" she asked. No, of course I wasn't all right. I mean, I wasn't sick or anything, but I was standing perfectly still, frozen as a popsicle, counting prime numbers in my head. A prime number is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. There are 25 of them under 100, and reciting them sure does help me when I'm nervous. "Go ahead and jump," Sally said. I didn't move. A plane flew across the clouds. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. I wish I were a stork and could fly away, or a flamingo, or a penguin, except I didn't think they flew. "Marley," Sally said, "there's a bunch of people behind us." I hated holding them up, so I took a step toward the edge of the platform. 13, 17, 19, 23. But then I got dizzy and fell to my knees. "Come on," cried the boy on the ladder behind Sally. "Hurry up and jump." I shook my head and clutched the board. 29, 31, 37, 41. It didn't work. I wasn't ever letting go. Sally laughed. She said she was really good. She was really going to do it this time. I squeezed my eyes tighter and kept counting. 43, 47, 53. "Isn't that Judy Nipspit's little sister?" someone said. It must have only been a minute or two, but I still got all the way to 97 before I felt Judy's hand on my shoulder. "Marley," she said quietly, "come on down. I already bought a Coke and a payday. We can share them on the way home." I nodded but didn't move. "Open your eyes," Judy commanded. I did. Not that I always do what my sister says, but, well, I guess I usually do. In any case, when I saw my sister's clear brown eyes looking at me, I felt much better. She was 16 and going into the 11th grade. I could talk to my sister. She was smart and calm and reasonable. "Do you want me to hold your hand on the way down the ladder?" Judy asked. I nodded again. It was embarrassing, but I didn't think I could do it on my own. Once I felt her palm on mine. It only took a minute for us to get all the way down together. "What a baby!" said the boy who had been behind me as he brushed past us to climb up again. Sally laughed, and I knew they were right. I was a baby. "Come on," Judy said. She picked up her book and her bag from the lounge chair where she'd been reading. "See you at school tomorrow," said her friend Margaret. "See you," Judy replied, waving goodbye. Judy hadn't even gotten her hair wet. She'd recently cut it into a short bob and wore it pulled back with a ribbon. My hair was the same brown color as my sister's, but it was long and wavy, and sometimes I still wore it in braids. Sally said I looked like Heidi, but I didn't care. I liked Heidi. She had that nice grandpa and her friend with all those goats. Goats are okay, but what I really love are wild animals, like the ones you find at the zoo. The Little Rock Zoo was right across the street from the swimming pool. In the gate and down the hill, I knew the lions were pacing in their cages. At night, Judy and I listened to them roar, but during the day, they were quiet like me. Judy and I sat on the wall by the zoo entrance as we shared the candy bar and a Coke. Sorry, I said. I just ruined our last day at the pool before school started again. Judy sighed. Why are you even friends with Sally McDaniels? I shrugged. Sally and I have been friends ever since we were 5, and she pushed me off the slide at the park. She likes to boss you around, Judy said. That was true, but she was also familiar. I like familiar. You need to find a friend you have something in common with, said Judy. Someone who likes to do the same things as you. That's what... I stopped listening. I knew all of her advice by heart. I needed to find someone who was honest and friendly and nice. I knew all the ways I was supposed to meet this imaginary friend, too. Just say hello, ask someone a question, give a compliment. Maybe it would work if I could ever figure out the right words. I know it sounds odd, but I much prefer numbers to words. In math, you always get the same answer, no matter how you do the problem. But with words, blue can be 1,000 different shades. 2 is always 2, and I like that. Judy finished lecturing, and I said, it's easier to put up with Sally. Sometimes she's really nice. Yeah, Judy said, sometimes. Chapter 2. Coffee, tea, or soda. That evening after dinner, we all sat down in the living room to watch TV by we, I mean my family, Mother, Daddy, Judy, and me. I have an older brother too, David, but he just moved out the week before to start college. My sister and brother and Daddy are the only ones I really feel comfortable talking to, so I miss David something terrible. In fact, when Mother made a fresh batch of iced tea for dinner, I almost started crying. You see, to me, people are like things you drink. Some are like a pot of black coffee, no cream, no sugar. They make me feel so nervous I start to tremble. Others calm me down enough that I can sort through the words in my head and find something to say. My brother, David, is a glass of sweet tea on a hot summer day, when you put your feet in a hammock and haven't got a care in the world. Judy is an ice-cold Coca-Cola from the fridge. Sally, it's cough syrup. She tastes bad, but my mother insists she's good for me. Daddy's a glass of milk, usually cold and delicious, but every once in a while he goes sour. If I have to ask one of my parents a question, I'll pick him, because Mother is a hot black of tea, so strong she's almost coffee. Mother and I don't exactly see eye to eye, or even elbow to elbow. She's always trying to get me to do stuff. Invite that girl over. Volunteer at church. Read to the poor blind lady down the street. I know she loves me, but sometimes I think she wishes I were more like Judy. Mother and Judy like to read fashion magazines and go shopping. They get their hair done once a week and read long romantic novels like Gone with the Wind. Despite our differences, Judy and I get along. But Mother expects me to be thrilled when she brings home a new skirt or sweater set, when what I'd really like is a new slide rule. Ever since the Soviets sent up the Sputnik satellite last year, I've been studying really hard. Maybe someday I'll study mathematics at college and become a rocket scientist. Only thing is, when our teacher told us last year that our country needs more of us to study math, I think she meant more boys. I watch all those talks on TV about the satellite really closely, and I don't see any experts who are women. That evening, we were watching our brand new 1958 RCA 21-inch mahogany television console. It was so large we had to move an armchair into the garage to make space for it in the living room. With rabbit ears on top, it got 3 whole channels. Governor Faubus was on television, giving some sort of talk about Southern pride and communist, and okay, I tried to pay attention, but it didn't really make much sense. I was more worried about who my teachers would be this year. Teachers are definitely coffee. When they call on me in class, it makes me so nervous I can't say a thing, even when I know the answer. So there's always a rough patch at the beginning of the year when I'm breaking them in. People sometimes think I'm stupid because I'm so quiet, but I'm not stupid. I'm scared. Scared my voice will get all squeaky and people will laugh. Worried I'll look dumb if I say the wrong thing. Concerned about being a show-off if I get the answer right. Convinced that if I start talking, people will notice me, and I won't like the attention. Turn off the TV, Marley, Daddy said suddenly. I jumped up to do as he asked. I could tell by his tone that something was wrong. I can't believe the governor would rather close the schools than have you go with a couple of, Daddy said to Judy. That's not what he said, Mother snapped. It's about states' rights, preserving our way of life, and respecting Southern traditions, not to mention maintaining the peace. There you have it, girls. Daddy's voice was pleasant, but there was a bite to it. Judy frowned. But what will I do all day? You can get a head start on the fall cleaning, said Mother. Maybe you wash the windows? Judy made a face. Or you can help Betty Jean with the laundry. It's up to you. I'll bring home a reading list and a math book to keep you busy after that. Betty Jean was our new maid. We'd never had one before, but with Mother going back to work, we needed someone to do the laundry and the cooking. Daddy's been an English teacher at Forest Heights Junior High for a long time, but Mother's first day of teaching home economics at Hall High School was supposed to be tomorrow. Do you have to go to work? Judy asked. Yes, said Mother. Hall is closed to the students, but I signed a contract, so I have to go. What about Marley? Does she have school? Judy asked. That was just what I wanted to know. Yes, said Daddy. Only the high schools are closed. No one is trying to send to the junior highs. Not yet, said Mother. Daddy ignored her. We kissed our parents goodnight and went back to our room. Lucky you, I said to Judy as I walked into the bathroom to brush my teeth. I was starting at Westside Junior High, and I wasn't too excited about it. Yeah, Judy whispered. Lucky me. As I brushed my teeth, I wondered how I'd feel if a colored girl was sent to my school. Sally said you'd get lice if you sat too close to one of them, but Sally also said if you lit a candle in the bathroom and turned around 3 times, you see a ghost in the mirror. I tried it once when I was 7, and there was no ghost, just a lot of melted wax on the countertop. I didn't believe much of what Sally said after that. There had been a colored girl in one of Judy's classes last year at Central High School, the best high school in all of Arkansas. For the first time, 9 black students had enrolled. Minnie Jean Brown, Elizabeth Eckford, Ernest Green, Thelma Mothershed, Melba Patillo, Terrence Roberts, Gloria Ray, Jefferson Thomas, and Charlotta Walls. That was a mouthful, so people just started calling them the Little Rock Nine. The integration had gone so badly that President Eisenhower sent in soldiers to help keep the peace. I remember Daddy talking about being polite to the black people, and Mother biting her lip. I've been so busy watching both of them, I never thought to ask Judy how she felt about it. All I knew for sure was that she hadn't gotten lice. When Judy walked into the bathroom, I opened my mouth to ask, but my mouth was full of toothpaste, and by the time I'd rinsed and spit, her mouth was full of toothpaste. And then it was time to go to bed. Julie fell asleep quickly, but I kept tossing and turning. Usually the lions roaring lured me to sleep, but they were silent tonight, as quiet as the halls of Central would be tomorrow. Finally I got up and went to the kitchen for a glass of milk. Mother and Daddy were talking in the living room. Almost sounds like you're an integrationalist, I heard Mother say. I don't think it's such a big deal if Judy's at school with a few. You want our girls associating with, asked Mother. A few colored students wouldn't. Race mixing, that's what it'll lead to, said Mother. I stood in front of the open fridge in my nightgown, clutching the bottle of milk, and shivered. Race mixing was a scary thing. At least people always talked about it like it was polio or something. The thing was, the races didn't really mix in Little Rock. Not in the bathrooms of department stores, nor in the water of the swimming pools. In fact, I don't think we'd ever had a colored person in our house until Betty Jean showed up ironing last week. There wouldn't have been even any trouble last year if the governor hadn't. Richard, watch what you're saying. I'm not saying anything I don't mean. Do you want people to call us communist? Mother asked. The milk bottle slipped from my hand and crashed to the floor. So much for eavesdropping. My parents ran into the kitchen. Oh, Marley! Mother grabbed a towel and began to mop things up. Now there'll be no milk for breakfast. Sorry, I whispered. Mother just kept wiping up the mess. My father poured me a glass of water and walked me back to my room. "We weren't arguing," he said when we got to my door. I nodded, but when he leaned over to kiss me goodnight, his eye twitched like it always did when he was lying.